The moment the bell rings, a collective sigh of relief comes from everyone. Much of the morning's been taken up by a droning lecture of stoichiometry, a topic entirely unbenefited by the insufferable, heat meeting the classroom. Knowing the attempt to teach anything more would be an exercise in futility, Mattel gives us and begins clearing the teaching materials from his desk for the day. As a meaningless banter starts filling the classroom, I notice Anako getting up and coming to my desk. She has been a lot withdrawn lately, less withdrawn lately, something which gives me a small measure of satisfaction. Hello, Sal. Hey, wanna go pick up Lily then? It's come the time when she needs to get going if she's going to make the flight. About that. She said she might be held up by her classmates. I suppose that makes sense. Her class usually off a little earlier than ours, so Lily would normally have just come to our classroom. Her class must be sending her off. Well, never mind. We can wait outside her classroom for once, right? She gives a small giggle before nodding. The two of us taking our things and leaving the 3-2's classroom. When we reach our destination, I stop in idle amusement at the scene inside. One of the shorter girls from the class has Lily wrapped in an enthusiastic hug, her head no higher than Lily's chin. Her other friends, of which there are several, are gathered around her as well. Lily simply smiles kindly and hugs her back. I guess Lily must be pretty popular, compared to Shizun's harsh but fair dictatorship of 3-3. Lily seems more like a mother figure for 3-2, to say nothing of her height and looks. Kenji's pointedly looking cool demeanor as he packs up his things at his seat in the back corner of the classroom is expected. He's no doubt far from a fan of fuss and being made about Lily's leaving. Looking beside me and seeing Anako is following my gaze, I decide to finally enter the room. Afternoon, Lily. It's just me and Anako. Anako withers noticeably when exposed to the din being made around Lily. Try as she might, I doubt she'll ever completely get over her social anxiety. Hello. Lily manages to work out her position reasonably well, her classmates detaching herself without a second word. A look of slight exasperation is written on Lily's face, though I can't say I blame her. Hello, Sal. Hanako. Do we have much time before the flight leaves? I give a quick glance at my watch, taking the trip to the airport into account. There's a good 10, maybe 15 minutes left while she's still in line for the contingencies. Yeah, we still have a few minutes to kill. I wouldn't worry about missing it yet. Ah, is that an echo? Uh-oh. I think we just inadvertently become entangled in a social web. The girl's probably part of the legally blind faction in the class like Kenji, given her almost window pane-like spectacles. Her short, roughly cut hair gives her a look that fits her excitably expression. Hello, She takes Anako's hand and pulls it up and down enthusiastically. I really don't get how girls can be so social to someone they only know as the friend of a friend. While Anako exchanges nervous greetings, I look around the room for my short and overdressed next-door neighbor. Try as I might, he seems to have slipped out of the classroom without anyone noticing. For a moment, I try to think of a possible career that could reasonably benefit from his single skill, before putting my mind to more pertinent matters. Lily seems pleased and somewhat guarded about the enthusiasm Hanako is suddenly excited for those around her. She might not see it, but Hanako is much less panicked about the fair than I anticipated. Shuffling my way through the gaggle. Good job, they used the word gaggle. Gaggle of classmates, I eventually managed to reach her. Don't worry, Hanako's fine. Thank you. I thought she might be overwhelmed by them. Don't worry, it will be gentle. Both of us grimace in unison. Hanako's nervous grin stays plastered on her face as another couple of girls move in to meet her. It's kind of amazing that even just a month ago she'd been able to cope with a situation. She'd never be able to cope with such a situation such as this. Even when I first met her, the two of us completely alone, she sprinted from the library. So, you got everything you needed? It's all packed. I just have to go to my room to pick it up on the way. Naoko and I need to change. I guess we better get going then. Naoko? Naoko's head flicked up towards us in a flash, her face rather unmistakably appreciating the chance of extricate herself from the small group gathered around her. Coming! Ooh, new place. The long taxi ride to the airport is surprisingly pleasant, despite the three of us being rather squashed together to fit in the small back seat. On the other hand, maybe despite isn't the right word. Lily pays the fare for the drive as well as we file out, Naoko's eyes flittering left and right. Thankfully, there aren't too many people around, most of them inside the main building rather than milling around outside. It isn't hard to spot Akira and Hideki leaning against the fence while talking to pass time. A large black travel bag complete with wheels and travel handles leaned against the fence alongside them. Hideki is the first to notice us, pointing us out to Akira, who gives over the enthusiastic wave. Hey, hey! I grabbed Lily's travel bag for her as we go to meet the two, earning a nod of appreciation. I've got all my stuff here. You got yours? Plane ticket as well? Don't worry, I have everything. You? Yep, all ready to go. Not without some problem along the way, I might add. Oh, the snide remark has his head roughly dragged around with a very firm clamp on it hand. Haha, yeah, I kind of sort of forgot it was in the trouser pocket that I put in the wash. Oh no. Don't worry. Do you know you can print out tickets and order it online nowadays? It's really cool. Hideki's pain expression says that this wasn't a solution found quickly. It could have been worse, I guess. We'd better start off then. Check-in would be ready by now. Yeah, you're right. There's a certain amount of wistfulness in both their voices. They say nothing of the people left behind, meaning their family again. After all these years, it would be big for them. Lily. Naoko wraps Lily in a gentle hug to say goodbye, one of which is warmly reciprocated. Lily and I share a brief hug afterwards, each of us saying our goodbyes. Beside us, Akira and Hideki break off the small hug and a word or two being between them. It would probably look quite nice if not for the almost comically height difference between the two. Lily takes a hold of her sister's arm once all that needs to be said and farewell is said, the two walking past the huge glass doors. Goodbye, Asao and Naoko. See ya. Don't do anything stupid, shorty. We wave at them until they disappear from sight in the throng of people moving about inside. And then, we're alone. Well, that's that. I turned to see Hideki, almost beginning to walk off. See ya. No, it doesn't even. He throws her hands up in the air in a manner I'd expected of Akira. In the end, it's just Hanako and I left standing alone outside. I rest my hand on her shoulder. She absent-mindedly gazes towards the front doors of the building, as if she might catch a glimpse of either of the two before they disappear. Don't worry, the time will pass fast. She hesitates for a moment, but eventually nods. The scorching heat of the summer sun beaming down on us, we make our way to the nearby bus stop. It's strange, really. Just when I begin to see Lily differently, she leaves on what almost feels like a pilgrimage to the past. In a way, though, that's just what I've been doing since coming to Yamaku. As much as I may reflect on everything that's happened to me, I really am hardly unique. Everyone has their own circumstances and separate paths to get where they are now. Yet, I still can't really work out how I should proceed. My life may have practically been reset, and I still can't find anything that satisfactorily fills the hole I still feel in myself. Maybe Lily leaving will be a good thing for me. Without her lean on, I'll need to do more for myself. I'll have to be there for Nako as well. It feels strange to have so much changing so quickly after my months in the hospital that seem to exist so separately from reality. But that's all the more reason to keep me focused. I can't let any opportunity slip out of my fingers in my attempt to rebuild my life. Act 3. Present. I rest my chin on my hand as I absent-mindedly look out the window. Yet another of Metal's lectures droning on and on as if were endless. The summer sky is almost alluring in its bright cerulean splendor. Only the odd passing cloud breaks up in the deep blue expanse. This feeling of longing is probably the outdoors side of me yearning to escape. Nakai, could you answer this? The side of me lost to the past now, though. In that case, I think it'd be an suffix. Correct. Moving on to suffix 4. And my attention towards Metal's lips once again. I spot Misha giving me an enthusiastic thumbs up and a nod at her to settle her down. It's been a handful of days since Lily left for Scotland, days which have passed relatively peacefully. Life largely continued as usual in contrast to what I expected, while thoughts of her had danced around on the edge of my mind since she left. Present events managed to subdue them, at least for the time being. So I find myself idly chatting with Hanako as usual when lunchtime finally rolls by. Are the later ones in the series good as well? Not really. You'd probably be best off just sticking to the original. His later books didn't live up to it, other than maybe God Emperor. Thanks, I wasn't really sure if... As Hanako steps to the side, I see Shizune stride up with her typical business-like manner, flanked by her present bright-haired shadow. Try as I might, I can't read any hint of their intent from their faces. Shizune's poker face and Misha's seemingly boundless cheerfulness are a devilish combination. Morning, Shizune, Misha. Hi. I accentuate the greeting with a nod to Shizune in order to get the point across. She prompts me and curtly returns to the gesture of both of us. It's been a long while since I really talked to either of them. For a while I thought they might be avoiding me, but I eventually came to the conclusion that Shizune really isn't the type to do so. Morning. Shichan says that Matao wants to see you sometime. Because of the statement, my face contorts as if I had eaten spoiled food, giving Misha no end of amusement. Anyone think they were in trouble, Chan? You may be aware of it, but you have the least to worry about, one out of anyone in the class. One unexpected vote of confidence. Even Anako nods hesitantly to affirm the point. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. There was something I wanted to ask you, though. And what might that be, Chan? I have a feeling that this won't go over well, but here goes. Is there any reason why you and Lily don't get along? It seems like even a little civility would help you both in your duties. Shizune's cold stare after Misha happily signs the word stops me in my tracks. In hindsight, I really could have worded that better. Even Anako. Out of the corner of my eye, I'm sure that I see Anako move back just a little. Thankfully, Shizune notices this and lets her temper dissipate, as she forcibly runs her hand through her hair to let off steam. Perfectly on cue, Misha begins interpreting the second Shizune's arm begin to move. I would say it's such a matter irrelevant to you, but But since you seem to have befriended Lily... She pauses to adjust her glasses, evidently attempting to articulate her point in the best possible manner. Well, I assume the same of her. I cannot call her own views of the matter unbiased. Suffice to say, we were almost closer before than we are now. Shizune makes a quick gesture to Misha to stop her from interpreting, then has a quick meeting with her before proceeding. The fact that two can communicate so easily, yet so secretly, right in front of us, is slightly disconcerting. Naoko seems to share my curiosity at the proceedings, looking on with thinly masked interest. As they finished their opaque conversation, Misha looked slightly deflated. I guess her opinion on the matter wasn't followed. Chi-chan says you asked Lily about it. You should ask Klee about it, as she doesn't want to be the one that gets you involved. Well, I'll just have to ask her after she gets back. At least I got some information out of Shizune. The two having been on close terms mean that they weren't always at each other's throats, or at least not quite to the extent. I understand. Thanks anyway. With a nod and farewell, the two break away and walk out of the door, no doubt headed straight for the student council room. Could have gone worse, I suppose. Hanako lets out a long breath, relieved that the confrontation's resolution. I can't say I blame her. I'll see you later then. Yeah, I'll meet you in the tea room. See ya. With that, she waves and joins the trickle of students leaving the classroom. Nakai, could I speak with you for a moment? Delivered with his typical monotone manner. He apparently decided that I needed to remind her to see him already. Eventually, I finished packing up my things. By the time I reached his desk, the classroom was close to empty. Yes, sir? He looks up, taking a measure of my face before giving an awkward, rather obvious acted chuckle. No need to feel guilty. You're not in any trouble. I just want to ask you something. I've asked a few of my other students so far. That's something, at least. For a moment, I thought my maxim of keeping my head down and my pen up had failed me. So, what did you want to talk about? To start with, what do you think of your progress in this class so far? Good? Bad? I detest that kind of question for a fair amount of time. I try to think of a response that neither is pathetically humble nor cocky. I'd say I'm doing okay. The work doesn't seem too hard. I'm doing better on the tests than I thought it would. That's a good answer. A correct one, too. I give a mental sigh of relief at his satisfaction. To say that I don't gain a little pride from his comment would be a blatant lie. In the maelstrom of thoughts clouding my mind after learning I'd be transferring to Yamaku, my school grade seemed utterly unimportant. Being entirely clueless as to what skill level would be assumed of me once I actually got here, I was hugely relieved when I found out I understood well enough the schoolwork we'd been doing. I know your circumstances might have thrown a wrench in the works, but have you given any thought to your future? My future? What would you like to do as a profession? Don't you have any thoughts of where you'd like to be in 10 or 20 years at a time? I wouldn't be surprised if you covered the ground in your previous school, but I don't have any record of you, if you have. I suppose the last year of high school is the time when students would need to be thinking about such things. To be honest, I really haven't lent it much thought compared to my immediate situation. Catching onto my thinking, Matao speaks up. It's okay if you haven't decided on any specific yet. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of your classmates were still undecided after all. Maybe pursue one of your talents. He's rather obviously trying to squeeze an answer out of me, and something about his previous wording makes me suspicious. He didn't seem to be intent on asking everybody like this, so he must have been some kind of select criteria. And I guess there are marks in his class. Well, something in science might be the path of least resistance. His face brightens, no doubt, pleased at the thought of a prize student following his subject as a career path. Good. Having a general idea is the first step. I would advise you to think on it, though. I will. Things are kind of settling down, which will help. Good to hear. Oh, and I've noticed that Ikazawa's attendance and marks have improved since you came to be friends. I'd like to thank you for that. I'm surprised you noticed we knew each other. He gives a chuckle as awkward as his smile. The guy really has no idea how to properly act around others. Every facial movement seems like an act of careful but misdirected choreography. You could say that having a general idea of who knows whom is part of the teacher's job. Catching himself before he goes off on a tangent, he loudly coughed into his hand. I'm sure you have things to do, though, so I'll stop you there. Please do think about where you're headed from here, as you don't have long to go before you finish high school. I will. Thanks. The brief talk ended and I had to take my leave. He goes back to fussing with the teacher materials on his desk. This is one of the times I'm envious of Lily, almost maddeningly so. To have one's future so clear and so shared, yet working towards it from such a young age. It's an idea so utterly irreconcilable with my thoughts, married with the present day, just as they've always been.